So I'll start by measuring the length of my trouser. The length of my trouser, which is 38 inches. Then I will add the seam allowance at the lower part. I'll be using 2 inches seam allowance at the lower part, and I will also add 2 inches also at the upper part after the length of the trouser. So I'm trying to roll out the line here, and I'll roll out the line at the lower part also. So for this lower part, the remaining part over there is 2 inches, which is the seam allowance. So I will add the 2 inches at the upper part of this trouser length now, and I'll also roll it out. So those are the seam allowance. So now what's next to do is to measure my inseam. So I start taking the inseam from the length before the seam allowance. Note, don't take it with the seam allowance, measure it without the seam allowance. So my inseam, that's what I'm measuring over there. So now I'm measuring the new length of the trouser, just the new length, so I can measure my new measurement over there. So that's the line I drew over there. So now I divided my hip, divided by 4. Then the measurement again, I divided by 4 and I added half inch. That is, if your hip is 36 divided by 4, it is 9, and 9 divided by 4, it is like 3, it is like 2 point something. So sometimes I just round it up to 2.5, then I add half inch more to it. So the same hip measurement divided by 4, you measure it at the upper part of your trouser, which is the waist measurement, which is the waist side. Then you remove half inch like I'm doing at that side, just half inch, just to slant it. Yeah, just half inch. Then you just draw a curve over there. Draw the curve over there. So then you take the measurement all together. Whatsoever you have in the measurement, you divide it into 2. If it is 13, you divide it into 2. That's 6.5, 6.5. So then you measure the 6.5 like that throughout that side, just to create a line, just to create a straight line. So every measurement will be taken now will be divided into 2. So now I want to measure my tie line. I just go down by 1 inch, sometimes 1.5, but for this measurement I'm using 1 inch. So now my tie measurement, which is 22 divided by 2, which is 11. So 11, I will take half of 11, which is 5.5 at one side, and the 5.5 at the other side over there. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. If your tie is 22, you divide it into 2. 11, you take it on the lines. So my new measurement, which is my lap, is 18. So 18 divided by 2, it is 9 inches. So I take 4.5 on each side. So after measuring it together, I have 9 inches. So the line I drew the other time is just to know the boundaries. So my ankle is 13 inches. My ankle is 13 inches. So 13 inches divided by 2, that's 6.5. So 6.5 divided by 2, that is 3 quarter. So now I'll just connect all those lines with the curvy part of my French curve. Just connect the lines like that, and I'll connect the other side too. So now this is what we have. So for my waist, I'm not measuring my waist measurement because I want to use a band. I want to use an elastic band over there, so I want it to be free for me to be able to make it smaller with an elastic band. So I won't be reducing anything or adding any that or whatsoever. So now I'll just cut it out. So now it's time to cut out what we've drafted. So this is it after cutting it out. So now we have to cut the back part of the trouser. Yeah, you should notice that while I was cutting this front part, I did not add any seam allowance to it. This is because I'll be adding extra 2 inches at this part over here. As I'm doing, I'll be adding 2 inches. That is because I'm sewing with half inch, so I'll just be adding 2 inches all through that side. So for this part here, I'll be extending it a bit. The reason why I'll be extending it a bit is just to give space for the back. You know, our back has this bum side, so we have to give space for it, for the bum at the back. So I'll just be extending it in that way. Some people can extend it at the upper part, but because this person wearing this trouser does not have a big bum, so I'll just be extending it a little over there. If the person has a bigger bum, you can just extend it at the upper part. So now let me cut out what I have. So after cutting, this is what it will look like. So if you are not adding a pocket or a side pocket to the trouser, you can just go ahead and start stitching. But for me, I want to add a side pocket. I want to just add a small side pocket. So now I will measure 2.5 inches after the seam allowance. So now let's start stitching. So I went ahead to join this part, the front, and this is the back. So I went ahead to join it with 1/2 inch here. So now this is the pocket I cut out before. This pocket is just like a freestyle cutting kind of. I just cut out a small pocket just for hand to just enter the pocket. That's the reason for this pocket. So now I feel the pocket is longer than what I want. So I want it to be 8 inches, 8 or 7 inches. I think 7 inches. Yeah, I want it to be 7 inches. So for the seam allowance, 1/2 inches, that's 8. So I'm just trying to reduce it here. So I'll show you how I'll fix it. Just show you how I'll fix it. The other method of cutting pocket, but for this tutorial, I just use this simple cutting. Yeah, just use this simple one. The other method of cutting pocket. So now this is the front piece. So the 2.5 I measured the other time, I notched it. So I'll be pinning it from that side. I'll be pinning it, the right side facing each other in that way. Then I will pin. Then after pinning, I will sew. So after sewing, this is what I have. Then I'll be joining the side together just with 1/2 inch. I'll just be joining it together with 1/2 inch. So the front and the back, I'll be joining it with 1/2 inch in that way. So I'll be joining it together with the pocket also, just the way I'm demonstrating. So I'll sew from that side like that, round. Then I will sew down for both sides. So after sewing, this is what I have. So the next thing I will do now is to join this part over here. So I always make sure that these parts, they are equal. I always make sure they are equal here. So make sure they are equal, then I will join with my seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch. So after doing that, it's time to fold our upper part so that we can put our elastic. So for this one, I will turn it to the back. Yeah, it is the back. I want to leave the opening, so I'll fold 1/2 inch, then 1.5 inch, 1/2 inch first, then 1.5 inch. If you could remember earlier, we added 2 inches as our seam allowance, so 1/2 inch first, then 1.5 inch. That's making 2 inches. So you just fold like that, then you pin if you can pin, or you just sew directly if you can sew it directly. So for the elastic, you have to measure your waist measurement. Let's say for instance your waist is 26 inches. You can just remove 4 inches out of it, so you have 22 inches. Then you put your safety pin through it, then you pass it through the hole you've made. So after that, the opening you left the other time, you make sure you close it up. Yeah, you make sure you close it up. Then you sew the elastic too, so that it doesn't lose. So you make sure you close it up over there. So the next thing we'll do now is to fold our ankle. So since it's 2 inch also, for this one I'll just fold 1 inch, 1 inch in and 1 inch the other way, then I'll sew. So after sewing, this is what I have. This is what it is looking like. This is just a free trouser, a free trouser. Just something very free, not a fitted trouser. It's a free trouser. So this is what I have after sewing. So I'll just go ahead and iron it out so it can look very, very nice. So that's what I will do. I'll just go ahead and iron it out. As you can see, even with the crotch we just extended, the back is still longer than the front, and which is supposed to be, the back is supposed to be longer than the front. So after ironing, this is what it looks like. So I've ironed it and I've folded it. So this is what it looks like, and it's looking really nice. And I make sure I iron the pocket side too. I iron the pocket side. Yeah, and this is what it looks like, and it looks really, really nice. Yes, it looks nice. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Please drop a comment. If you don't understand any part, just let me know and I will respond to every of your questions. Bye.